Good morning, everybody. Matt Modi here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks. Today, we're talking Thursday's NBA betting slate, December 12th. The splash zone is back in your life. We have 3 games in the NBA tonight. I'm going to have 4 bets for you guys to lock in. Of course, all 4 are plus money bangers because that's how we do things here. Unfortunately, to do a recap, yesterday was pretty brutal. It literally could not have gone worse. I gave out 3 picks yesterday. All 3 of them lost. The Brunson one, just a bad play. He didn't even come close. I think he scored 14 points. The Trae Young and the Şengün ones, I don't have any regrets there. Trae Young ended with 11 assists, and he only had 2 at halftime. Şengün ended with exactly 5 assists. So both of them were 1 assist away. The fact that we couldn't get either of them to go our way just kind of speaks to what's been a brutal run this entire season. And yesterday's 0-3 day did bring us down to a loss on the year. Pretty brutal day yesterday, pretty brutal season, down over a unit on the year. We were in the green, but 2 bad days in a row brought us back in the red. That's just kind of the story of how this season has gone. I thought we were hitting a hot streak. It did not happen. And actually the opposite happened and a cold streak happened. So let's hope that today, the 4 plays that we have today, get ourselves back into the green on the year. Let's have a 4-0 day. We really need it. Starting with this play number 1, Raptors versus Heat. RJ Barrett over 12.5 rebounds plus assists, plus 105 odds at ESPN Bet. So there's a couple reasons why we are on this play for RJ Barrett. Number 1, we're expecting increased usage from a passing and rebounding perspective with Scottie Barnes out. This is going to be the first game that Scottie Barnes will have missed with this ankle injury. And we already know what it's like when when Scottie Barnes misses time. RJ Barrett has played 11 games this year without Scottie Barnes. And while I'm not going to say he's significantly skied over this number, he has gone over 12.5 in 6 of 11 games, and he averages about 13.5 rebounds plus assists in these 11 games as well. So it's honestly right on average with what this prop is giving us, and we're getting it for plus money, which isn't terrible. And his numbers aren't terrible either. Like, you look at some of the outlier metrics, nothing looks that bad for RJ Barrett. He averages, again, these are the 11 games without Scottie Barnes, 11 potential assists per game, 12 rebound chances per game. Again, that puts him, if you just go kind of off the conversion ratio of like 55 to 60% for both categories, that puts him right on line with 13 combined of this category. So again, nothing really scary there. For context, if we just want to look at the 11 games with Scottie Barnes and the 11 games without Scottie Barnes, somehow it's literally exactly 50-50, 11 and 11, make a wish. RJ Barrett only averages 11.5 combined rebounds plus assists in the 11 games with Scottie Barnes, and he only went over 12.5 in 4 of 11, averaging 9.3 potential assists per game, so that's 2 fewer, and 11.4 rebound chances per game, which is 1 fewer there. So just to kind of highlight the difference of what it's like with and without Scottie Barnes for RJ Barrett. So the first part of this, a little bit of increased usage, and when I say usage, I mean passing and rebounding, not actual usage rate, without Scottie Barnes. And then the other half of this is a play due to the matchup against the Miami Heat. It's a pretty good matchup for RJ Barrett. Not his points, but his rebounds plus his assists. Now, if you look at his history against the Heat, this year he's played the Heat twice. Scottie Barnes played in both of those games. So RJ Barrett scored 25 and 37 points in those 2 games. He was spotting up. When Scottie Barnes is on the floor, RJ Barrett is more of a spot up type of scorer. Spotting up is how you want to score against the Miami Heat. With no Scottie Barnes, the guess here is that he's going to do more playmaking and he's going to do more rebounding and stuff like that. And even if we look at those 2 games, he went over in one game with exactly 13. He went under in another with exactly 12. So that's 1 hook on the positive way, 1 hook on the negative way. But in those 2 games, one of them, Scottie Barnes had a triple-double. He had 10 rebounds each 10 rebounds and assists is what I'm looking for in one game. The other game, he had 19 combined with 10 and 9. That's how you get to the math of 19. And again, RJ Barrett scored 25 and 37 points in those games. Scottie Barnes, a little bit of a more reasonable 24 and 23. So the guess here is that no Scottie Barnes, tough matchup against the Heat. We're going to see more playmaking and rebounding with RJ Barrett as opposed to scoring. And, the data is kind of different depending on which website you look at. But the Heat are not quite the same juicy rebound prop for centers that they were at the beginning of the year. Like, if you look at the entire season, they're giving up the 4th most to the 6th most rebounds per game to centers. But if you look at the last month, this is per #NBA, the Heat are allowing the 4th fewest rebounds per game to centers, but they're allowing the 9th most rebounds to forwards and the 7th most to seventh most assists to forward. So not a terrible matchup from that perspective. Either way, I like backing RJ Barrett in this one. That's play number one. Play number two, another play that I absolutely love. We're heading to the Pistons versus Celtics game. Give me Cade Cunningham over 6.5 rebounds, plus 118 odds at FanDuel. I absolutely love this play. I think this is a phenomenal play from both a player perspective and a matchup perspective. On the entire season, Cade Cunningham is averaging over 7 rebounds per game. So just that right off the bat. Over 7 rebounds a game, and we're getting him at plus 118. Looks good. He's gone over 6.5 rebounds in 11 of 21 games. Over 50% hit rate for something we're getting at plus 118. That looks good. But after a slow start, he's hit this in 10 of 14 games. So he hit it in one of his first 7, has done it in 10 of 14 since. And you look at this stretch of 14 games. The 4 games he went under, 3 of them he had exactly 6 rebounds. So again, just another brutal hook, which is just the story of this season. In another game, he had 5. So in his last 14 games, he has yet to have fewer than 5 rebounds in a single game. So just right off the bat, the floor is there. The ceiling is there because he had that stretch where he had like 5 straight triple doubles. So we know he can get to 10 rebounds pretty easily. And what I like is that he's not deferring a lot of rebounds. Like, it's way more valuable for a guard like Cade Cunningham to get a rebound than it is to the center. It eliminates a step. It means he can just grab and go and run the fast break, run in transition, whatever you want to do. So, and you look at the last 15 games, for whatever reason, I can't look at the last 14, only the last 15. He's averaging over a 60% conversion ratio from rebound chances to actual rebounds. Generally, I want to fade outlier conversion ratios, both on rebounds and assists. That's not really the case here with Cade Cunningham. I think we're going to see 60% hold more often than not, again, because it's much more valuable for him to grab a rebound. That's the player. Check. As for the matchup, Cade Cunningham, the Celtics are the perfect team to target guard rebound props against. It's something that I've talked about a lot this year, and there are 2 reasons for it. Number one, how frequently they take jump shots. Heavy jump shot shooting teams lead to more rebounds to guards as opposed to centers, because when they're shooting, the ball bounces farther off the rim. Like a miss from 3-point land bounces farther off the rim. Also, they have stretch bigs. Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis can both shoot. So more often than not, the center's not even in the paint. So even shots that are close to the basket, the center's probably not there because he's being stretched out, not guarding the rim. So with that thought in mind, the most sources have the Celtics as a bad matchup for center rebound props. Props.cash tells you that the Celtics are allowing the 2nd fewest rebounds per game to centers. Fantasy Pros has them allowing the 5th fewest. Hashtag NBA has them closer to middle of the pack, depending on what time frame you look at, like some top 12, some top 15, whatever. But per NBA.com, the Celtics are allowing the 3rd most rebounds per game to guards, which makes complete sense. The last time these two teams played, Cade Cunningham skied over with 9 rebounds on 15 rebound chances. The first game these two teams played, he did go under. He only had 6 rebounds, so another brutal hook situation. But he had 15 rebound chances in that game, which I'll gladly take. So 15 rebound chances in both games against the Celtics, I'll gladly take for him to get to at least 7 rebounds. Honestly, he's not a bad ladder opportunity if you want to go 8+, 10+, really get crazy. I'm just sticking with the over 6.5. Just let's see some go through the hoop first before we start laddering. But I absolutely love this play on Cade. I really like the card that we have today, so I'd be pretty upset if you have another bad day. Play number 3, Kings versus Pelicans game. Malik Monk, 6+ assists, plus 124 odds at Caesars. So this one is a play because Monk, it's been 5 games, so sure, small sample size. But since he's been inserted into the starting lineup, he's been very, very good for the Kings. And the Kings have been very, very good as a team. So I see no reason why they're going to change anything up. Again, it's 5 games, so take that with a grain of salt. In these 5 games, so since December 1st, that's when he was inserted into the starting lineup. He's averaging over 7 assists per 36 minutes. And normally per 36 can be misleading if someone's playing like 24 minutes per game. He's played 34 to 36 minutes in most of these games. I mean, in 3 of the 5, he's played that. One game he didn't play that was due to a blowout. So more often than not, he's playing between 34 and 36 minutes. So the 7 assists per 36 is actually kind of relevant. And more importantly, he's averaging about 11 potential assists per game in these last 5 games. So if he's averaging about 11 potential, just needs about a 55% hit rate to get us to the 6 number. That checks out. In one of the games, so overall, he's gone over 6. He's hit 6+ assists in 3 of 5 games. One game he had exactly 5, so there's another hook. The other one was the game he played limited minutes. That's a game the Kings won by 44. That's right, they won by 44 points. So They're favorites tonight, but it'd be surprised if they won by 44. And what I mentioned, and as I mentioned earlier, the minutes are there. He's averaging about 33 minutes per game in these last 5 games, and that's brought down due to the one game that he barely played because of the blowout. Prior to being inserted into the starting lineup, he was averaging about 26 to 28 minutes per game. So all signs point to increased minutes, increased playmaking for Malik Monk, and it's a very good matchup against the Pelicans. The Pelicans, just decimated by injuries, have allowed a lot of assists to point guards. Per hashtag NBA over the last month, they're allowing the 6th most assists per game to point guards. Per NBA.com, the 8th most assists specifically to guards over the last 10 games. And then props.cash can only give you info on the entire season. 4th most assists per game to point guards. Fantasy Pros, same thing. 5th most assists per game to point guards on the entire season. So no matter what source you look at, an above average to juicy matchup against the Pelicans for point guard assist props. And per props.cash, 7 of the last 10 point guards against the Pelicans have hit their assist prop over. One that missed was Ja Morant, who had 7, and he played like 24 minutes because that game was a blowout. We also have some massive performances in there as well. Like Trae Young had 15 against them on an over-under of 11.5. Chris Paul had 10 on an over-under of 8.5. Marcus Smart had 6. His over-under was 2.5. Just some big performances from point guard assist props against the Pelicans. So I love this one. Lastly, our 4th and final pick of the video. We're heading back to the Raptors versus Heat game. Give me Ochai Agbaji over 1.5 made 3-pointers plus 139 odds at Caesars. So back to this first game we talked about. 3-point prop for tonight. Admittedly, the 3-point props haven't gone well for us this year, but really neither has anything. So that kind of is what it is. But another play. I know I'm just sounding like a broken record. I absolutely love this play on Ochai Agbaji to make 2 3-pointers. As I mentioned earlier in detail, Scotty Barnes is out for this game. That just calls for increased usage for everybody. For RJ Barrett, I'm expecting that to be playmaking and rebounding. For Ochai Agbaji, it's just shooting 3-pointers. Agbaji has played in 11 games this year without Scotty Barnes. He's made 2 or more 3-pointers in 8 of those 11 games. 8 of 11, basically like a 75 higher percent hit rate for something that we're getting at plus 139. Obviously, not everything is that simple, but just right off the bat, that just kind of shows you the type of value we're looking at. In these 11 games, he's averaging about 5 3-point attempts per game. That might not sound amazing. Like you were basically hoping that he hits 40% of his 3-pointers. That actually isn't that scary because the majority of his shots are open or wide open per NBA.com, and they are from the corner. So if you're taking a wide open shot from the corner, it's a lot easier to stomach a 40% shooting game from 3-point range. To give you context there, Agbaji is shooting on the year. This is not just looking at games with and without Scotty Barnes. Just on the entire year, he's shooting 47% from the corners this season, and about 45% of his shots are either considered wide open or open per NBA.com. Defines open as 4 to 6 feet of space, defines wide open as 6 or more feet of space. Again, that makes up 45% of his shots, and he shoots 50% from deep on wide open 3-pointers. So if you're telling me he's going to be left open from the corner, I'll gladly take for him to make 2 of 5 3-pointers. And we haven't even talked about the matchup yet, which is perfect for this shot profile against the Miami Heat. This has been the case for years with the Heat. They're one of the teams that allow a lot of corner 3-pointers. On the season, the Heat are allowing the 2nd most made corner 3-pointers on the 4th most attempted corner 3-pointers. Agbaji takes the most corner 3s on the Raptors. And as mentioned earlier, he shoots 47% from the corner. So if he's going to get up 5 shots that are open, either open, wide open, or from the corner, I'll gladly take for him to make 2, especially at the plus 139 odds. And that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. If you're interested, check out my Dub Club where I send all my plays out. Only $5 a month gets them sent to your phone. So check that out if you're interested. But I appreciate everybody for watching and have a good one.